Today we're going to explore the hot topic of water changes. Are they or are they not necessary? I'll outline the different types of aquariums people keep and whether or not they need to do water changes or not on those different types of systems. Let's get into it. So we have two main categories. We've got water change and not water change, and it's proportional to bioload versus plant mass. So as the bioload increases, the need for water changes increases. If the plant mass increases, it compensates for the bioload. And so if we have a lot of plants, and low bioload, we don't need to change the water. If we have a lot of fish and not very many plants, we definitely have to do water changes. So let's get into some more details. So for plant keepers, we're going to have two subcategories. We're going to have high energy aquariums and we're going to have low energy aquariums. High energy aquariums are going to be CO2 injection, high par lighting, and water column fertilization. Low energy aquariums are going to have low lighting, low par lighting. They're not going to be using CO2 injection, and water column fertilization is going to be very minimal, if not at all. So let's get into some specifics. Let's start off talking about Diana Walstead. She wrote a book many years ago, The Ecology of Planet Aquariums, and it's a very popular book, and it talks about how to set up an aquarium as a little mini ecosystem, as some YouTubers are doing these days. And the point would be to create a self-sustaining ecosystem. But even Diana Walstead promoted water changes every 6 months to keep things in balance. Next, let's talk about fish-only aquariums. There's some types of fish. We'll talk about African cichlids as a perfect example, where you can't keep just one fish, two fish. You can keep one, but you can't keep two or three. They'll bully each other. There'll be an aggression problem within your tank. They're very aggressive fish, and so you've got to overstock your tank to keep the aggression down within the aquarium. Within those systems, you end up having an extremely high bioload. Another problem with African cichlids is they also destroy plants. Another problem is that they like high KH water. When you have a high KH water, that limits the amount of plants that can even grow within that ecosystem. And so African cichlid keepers have a particularly difficult problem to keep their water parameters in balance because they gotta have a high bioload. They can't have that many plants, so they get destroyed. And what are you gonna do about that? That's where water changes comes in. Another type of aquarium is gonna be few plants, but a high bioload. So maybe you have a couple plants, but you also have a lot of fish. Your fish don't destroy your plants, but you still have a high bioload. You got too many fish in there. Maybe you got big fish. Maybe you got African cichlids in a plant that magically survives. But those types of aquariums still going to need water changes because your plants aren't going to be able to keep up with the bioload. Your bioload's too high. Next, we've got high energy aquariums. High energy aquariums are going to have CO2 injection, high power lighting, and water column fertilization. The objective of high energy aquariums is to get fast, rapid plant growth. Yes, those plants might consume all the nitrates in the aquarium, but you're going to be dosing additional nitrates like I do. My bioload in this aquarium is lower than what my plants consume. So yeah, I could get away with it, but it's going to also reduce my plant growth. And with high par lighting and CO2 injection, it's actually going to cause problems. It's going to cause stunting in the growth of the plants. It's going to cause necrosis in the plants. It's going to start consuming itself just to keep growing, but it can't. There's not enough nitrates. So with high energy systems, the smallest imbalance gets blown out of proportion. If you got slightly elevated phosphates, boom, you've got algae bloom, right? You got green dust, green spot algae everywhere. You are missing some nitrates, boom, your plants start dying. Your phosphorus or your potassium's too low, boom, your plants start eating themselves. You got holes in all your leaves. And so with a high energy system, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to keep your aquarium in balance. Every small difference is going to influence the system. It's going to explode and to be a problem. Your calcium and magnesium are out of balance. Boom, you got curling leaves and things stop growing properly. So with high energy systems, you definitely want to have water changes so you can keep those nutrients in balance properly long term. And another problem with a high energy system is that you end up with organic compounds, dissolved organic compounds build up in your aquarium. Detritus, little plant bits build up in your aquarium over time, and water changes help remove those organic compounds. Those organic compounds, those dissolved organic compounds, will produce algae. Algae will feed off of them. And so if you're going for a pretty aquascape type aquarium, under high power lighting, CO2 injection, excess detritus or dissolved organic compounds within your aquarium are going to cause problems. It's going to cause algae growth and it's going to cause issues. And finally, we get to the one category where maybe you don't need a water change. You can get away with it, I should say. And those are low energy ecosystem aquariums. You've got a lot of plants. You've got a low bioload. And so they find a balance in the ecosystem of the aquarium. You can't feed your fish, not much anyways, so they're going to be consuming food within the ecosystem of the aquarium. That limits the amount of fish you can carry in your aquarium. It limits the type of fish that you can keep. You're not going to be having an arowana in a planted tank and think those plants are going to somehow consume all the waste from an arowana. It's just not going to happen. So those aquariums are low energy, low lighting, because you can't make the plants grow too fast. Not going to be enough nutrients for them. They're going to consume it all, and then things are going to start getting out of whack. So you're going to have low lighting. You're not going to add CO2 injection. You're not going to be doing fertilizer dosing on your aquarium, and probably not feeding. And it creates a certain type of ecosystem with those types of aquariums. They're Wallstead aquariums, and there's some popular YouTubers promoting it these days. And you can get away with no water changes for those ecosystem aquariums, right? The plants are consuming all the nitrates, if that's the only thing that you're looking at in an aquarium. Maybe you can get phosphorus in balance as well if you don't feed your fish ever. And the problem with those type of ecosystem aquariums is going to be top-offs. You're going to need a very tight lid so that your water doesn't evaporate. If your water evaporates and you're adding water to top off the aquarium regularly, what happens is the water that you're adding in is going to have minerals in it. It's going to have some GH and KH above zero, most likely. And over time, that GH and KH will build up. GH is calcium and magnesium, essentially. KH is going to be other types of carbonates. And as you add those into your system over time, it will throw things out of balance. And that's why you need a lid if you're going to have an ecosystem type of aquarium. You can't be doing top-offs regularly. You need to have no evaporation. It's okay if we all keep different types of aquariums. The natural systems of the world are all extremely diverse. Not every system is a puddle of stagnant water like a retention pond in Florida, and not every system has a 100% change in water every 24 hours like a freshwater spring or a rainforest stream. We can coexist in this hobby. There's no right way. The only wrong way, which we can all agree, is if your fish are unhealthy and dying. So this is about water changes.